iPhone 6 story. It's crazy. So I used to do exhibitions for the Tennis Channel Open in Las Vegas. And one year, the person I was going to play with didn't show up. So I didn't know what to do. I was like, oh my God, I got all these kids, all these people coming to watch the tennis show, coming to watch my exhibition, and I don't know what to do. And I had a Samsung flip phone, and I was like, can I play with this?
You've got a crazy story, like you said. Maybe the only person with a crazier story is Dennis Rodman, which I love the swagger that came with. Wally Green, what's going on, man?
I'm good, man.
I'm so pumped to feature you on the Athletes Podcast. We just played ping pong this afternoon at Podcast Expo here in Orlando. It was crazy. You kicked my ass with an iPhone 6. Can't say I've ever had that happen before. I first want to start. How the heck do you have so much energy?
Oh man, I'm always energetic. I just love doing things. I love being around people, and I love inspiring and motivating. So that's all the energy that comes from me. I just love it. It's something I love to do.
Dude, I was like, I don't know how you actually keep up. Like you're incredible. Like what you've been able to do past couple of decades. Yeah, legitimately, it's crazy. Let's start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Manhattan, Lafayette High School, like born and raised Brooklyn. Like, what's that like now? Looking back, you're like being grazed by bullets.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. I grew up in the projects, and I had a very narcissistic, abusive stepfather who used to beat up my mom all the time, and me as well. And the craziest thing is that he used to tell me every single day that you'll be dead, you'll be in jail, you'll never amount to anything in life, you'll fail at everything you do. And the craziest thing about this was that when parents or step-parents say stuff like this, they say it out of anger, but he wasn't doing it out of anger. He was doing it to keep us held down. It's almost like he had a foot on top of us, and he wanted to keep us down and keep us always thinking negatively about ourselves. Because there was times he would call me and tell me this and not even be angry, and just to make me remember that this is going to be your life. So I grew up with this, and at a young age, I turned to gangs because, the gang was like a family. Those were people who would say, hey, don't worry, we got you. Those are the people that, I would get love from. Not real love, but at the time, that was the love. It was like my family. So, joined the gang at an early age. By 13, I was already with guns at 13, which is crazy. And yeah, man, and that was pretty much my life. The other side, though, was sports, right? So sports became a big part of my life because I needed the sports to numb my mind and numb my body. If you play any sport and you're an athlete, you get up early in the morning, you go train, you do your running, then you go to school, then after school you do the same thing again. And by the time you get home, you're just numb and your mind is numb. So when this craziness is happening, it still affected me, but it affected me a little bit less because I was so tired that I didn't care. So that was pretty much my life as a kid.
Like, I'm trying to process this all as we go. We met a couple hours ago, and the person you are today does not match what you were raised, how you were raised, the limiting beliefs that you were raised with. I'm trying to wrap my head around how you've come to be this energetic, enthusiastic, inspirational individual. Can you attribute that to anything specifically?
Yes. And it's gonna sound really crazy. I attribute it to the same person who was abusive to me as a kid, my stepfather. Every single day, if you hear every single day in your life, you're useless, you're never gonna amount to anything, everything you do will fail, you're gonna be dead or in jail, why are you here, you don't belong in this world. When you hear this every day, it's not like these words disappear from your mind. They never disappear from your mind. You'll be 80 and you'll remember these words. And so I have found a way to come to peace with it. And I think that's part of mental health. How do you come to peace with the worst things that's happened to you? And so, I found a way to come to peace with it. And now what I do is, I still hear those words all the time, right? But those are the things that push me. Because I hated my stepfather so much that there's nothing that I ever want to do or ever want to be that would resemble him. So all my life I was told I would fail. I can never fail at anything I do. And that's why everything I do, I'm successful at it. Because in my mind, I hear, you're gonna fail. You're never gonna amount to anything. And once I hear that, it's a trigger. And I'm like, what? No, no, no. It's just like with the social media we talked about before.
Yeah.
You know, someone say, you can't, I can't? Okay, I'm gonna do it. So that's where I draw all the energy for every single thing I do comes from my stepfather, from
Wow.
those words.
It's crazy how one person can have a positive and negative impact on you in such a profound way. Okay, that's a heavy way to start this podcast. I got to ask, what do you think of my ping pong skills?
It was actually pretty good. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It was good. You kept the ball on the table. That's pretty much the most important thing is keeping the ball on the table. So it wasn't bad. It was good. Needs improvement,
Yeah.
but I got you on that.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, you do a lot of coaching, training. Like,
Yeah.
I also read that you have Yezin Brack. Did I say his name correctly? Yezin Brack, who's a Canadian, also a Canadian refugee, over from Syria, who travels an hour every time he has to train. Do you remember that story from the New York Times article?
Yes.
I like to talk about Canadian athletes who are from Canada.
Oh, nice.
Like, crazy, the fact that, like, I'm more curious. You've seen this sport that you called dorky growing up. You saw kids, short shorts.
Hated it.
What changed?
Man, so I hated this sport. Listen, I played football, I played basketball, I was on the wrestling team. Volleyball, tennis, and I used to make, like, they used to have this in my high school, and kids would be there playing, and I used to walk through the lunchroom to go to the football field, and I'd be like, look at these kids with their short shorts and the stick. Like, it was just so funny. It was just so, like for me, it wasn't even a sport. I was like, there's no way this is a sport. This is like a joke, like something for fun. And I started shooting pool, right? I started shooting pool, thought I was really good at pool. And one day at a pool hall, I got upset because I got hustled for some money, and I broke the pool stick. But I didn't mean to break it. I just got angry.
Yeah.
I had very bad anger management issues. The pool stick shattered, and there was some kids playing ping pong. It was a ping pong table. And, you know, I was like a bully. And I blamed, when I was a kid, I blamed everybody for every single thing that happened to me. If I closed my eyes and walked into a wall and bumped my head, the next person who was next to me was gonna pay for that, even though that was clearly my fault. So I saw these kids playing, and immediately it was like a trigger. I'm gonna go mess with these kids, right? Because now I'm a pool stick, I can't play pool now, and I'm upset. So I went to the kid, I says, hey, I wanna get a hit. And he goes, do you play this? I said, I don't play this, just give me the paddle. So I took the paddle from him, and when he went to hit the ball, my goal was to hit him in the face with the ball. That was the plan. But because I was so bad at ping pong, I hit the ball on the table, and the kid goes, oh my God, whoa, what? That's amazing. You should play this game. There's a club. And I said, what do you mean there's a club? He's like, no, seriously, there's a club where people play. It's like a lot of players. And I said, there's no way there's a club where people actually play this sport. He's like, I'm telling you, you gotta go. So the athlete in me wanted to really see if it was true. So I went down to this club, and I saw people playing. And the thing that got me interested in sport was because, as a kid, and most of us who hear ping pong, we think of Asian. We think it's an Asian sport. That's what I thought. I thought only Asians play ping pong. Black people don't play no ping. Crazy. Black people play ping pong. It's crazy. This doesn't happen. But every single person there was black, right? They were from Jamaica, they were from Africa, and it was just weird. Like, whoa, wait a minute. I thought black people didn't play this, and I saw a bunch of black people playing. I was like, oh wow, this is interesting. And that's how I first got interested in playing the sport, because it wasn't an Asian sport, because there was not one Asian person playing. It was all black people, and I was like, whoa. And that's how I first got interested.
Crazy. So that moment when you hit that table, hit that fire shot by accident because you're trying to crush the guy in the head, that was a pivotal moment. You're like, oh, I can do this?
Yeah, well, it was after seeing people like me play.
Yeah.
And then I thought, wow, I should want to play. So then I got really interested in it. But nobody would play with me because I couldn't play.
So I remember reading in that article, George Brathwaite?
Oh yeah, Braithwaite.
Braithwaite.
Braithwaite, yeah.
1971 member,
Yes.
Beijing Olympics. Was he inspiration, mentor? Like,
Listen,
can you explain?
So, man, that guy, bro, I spent a lot of time with him, and I'm so, sad that he passed, because I had some big plans. Like, I'm doing a documentary now, about my North Korean diplomacy, and he was a key person. And I just spoke to him and said, hey, I'm gonna interview you. And he's one that I played with a lot.
Yeah.
Like when I first started playing, I played with him a lot. Like we would practice, no joke, till like 2 in the morning, and then we would go eat in Chinatown. We would go eat oxtails was his favorite food, oxtails over rice, and you know he's very instrumental in the sport. Like he was part of the U.S. team for the ping pong diplomacy. So it was really, you know, he's like a living legend that I got to practice with and hang out with, and you know, I learned a lot of things from him. Although a lot of things I learned I didn't listen to, because I never really listened to anybody. It would take like 3 years later, I'm like, oh my God, yeah, that's exactly what he was talking about.
Right.
But yeah, it was, you know, we were very close.
What changed for you to, you know, 3 years ago, learn and then be able to listen or understand, oh, I should have listened? Like, one of the things, as you know, educate, entertain, inspire,
Yes.
that's our mission, that's our goal with the Athletes Podcast. I wish I listened more, and
Yes.
I host a podcast. Like, what would you say to that younger generation? Like, how do you instill that so that at 14, 15, 16, you do absorb stuff that your mentors are saying?
So, I mean, a lot of times when you're younger, it's very difficult to listen to what someone's saying and then take that information, go process it, and then act on that information. It's difficult, but we need to understand that those people are in place for a reason, right? Your mentor is your mentor for a reason. Your teacher is your teacher for a reason. Your coach is your coach for a reason, right? They have experience that you don't have. So what I say to the younger generation, because not everything your mentor, not everything your coach says is gonna be right? We're all human, we make mistakes, but you should give them the benefit of the doubt, and you should try and implement what they said, right? If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But to not try and listen to what they're telling you and you want to do it your own way, that's not the way to do things. Like, you need to listen, you need to say, okay, you know what? I'm gonna try this. At least try it. If it doesn't work, then you find another way. But try it first. And that's what I say to all young generation, all the younger generation. Like I said, not everyone is gonna be right, but just try it first.
Yeah.
Right? Because they see something that you can't do. As an athlete, right, we don't see what our coaches see, right? We don't even see what we're doing. How do you see yourself play? You can't see yourself play, right? You can't see how many steps it took you to get from point A to point B. You can't see that stroke. You're just doing it. Coaches see this. Yeah. So with that in mind, listen to the coaches, try and do what they tell you to do. And if it doesn't work, you just tell them, say, hey, you know, I tried this, but it's really not working out for me. Do you have another way? Right. And a great coach will always have another way.
Was it hard giving up football, basketball, volleyball to pursue ping pong, like whiff-waff as a sport, as they call it?
How'd you know that name? I'm glad I wasn't playing at that time. Like, what do you do? I'm a pro whiff-waff. I can't even say the word. So that is a very interesting question. What happened with me was that a guy approached me at a club, that same club, and the guy told me, do you have a partner? This is how this whole thing went down. And I was like, no. He says, well, I need a partner. You know, I travel back and forth, and I just want to have someone to play with. I'll pay you $20 every time you play. What? $20? Whoa, 20? Yeah, hell yeah, because at that time I was like borderline homeless. Like, you know, and I had no money. It was $20 to play with you. Yeah, let's do it. So I'd play with this guy, and I'd hit with him all the time. And eventually we became friends. And he knew my situation, what I was going through, you know, the gang stuff, you know, to some degree. But for him, it was more like a TV thing, right? You know, he didn't realize how serious it was. One day I went to the club, a 22 fell out of my bag, and he saw it, and he looked at me, I looked at him, and I was like, I gotta go. And, you know, I thought, okay, there goes my money. I'm not making that money anymore. Right? I didn't care about the partner, I cared about the $20 at the time. So there goes the money. And he called me back, and he says, hey, are we still playing? I was like, what? And then when I went to meet with him, he says, I want to invite you to my home. Now, mind you, he had an apartment in New York City, and his home was 2.5 hours away from New York City, in New Jersey, right across from Hunter Mountain. And I was like, okay, but it was kind of weird. Like, why is this dude trying to bring me to his house? Like,
Yeah.
you know. So anyway, I went. I went because now I could protect myself. I'm not worried about him. So I go to his house. I meet his family. You know, his wife, his kids, and looking back at it, it was definitely trying to show me what real family was. You know, they ate together. You know, they sat at the table, they had a conversation, the food was served, everyone passed the food around. It was like a family. I think he was trying to give me a sense of family. And then he says, hey, I really want to help you. I'm going to pay for you to go to Germany to learn ping pong. And that was the first step to actually really going and learning the sport. But I always knew, you know, with me, I always kept my humanity, right? And this is very important. Like, you know, there's a lot of people that are gangbanging and doing crazy stuff. And the worst thing to happen is that you lose your humanity, right? Because when you lose your humanity, there's really no coming back. There's really, it's very difficult. And I never lost my humanity. Therefore, I always knew what I was doing maybe shouldn't be the thing I should be doing, right? So that's why I could make that decision and say, okay, you know, I want to do it. And that was the start.
Wow. What was Germany like?
Oh man, so Germany was a little crazy in the beginning because like people think that, oh, because I went to Germany, I changed. No, I was still that violent kid, but now I was a violent kid in Germany,
Yeah.
right? But people were really nice to me, which was weird because I don't like people that are nice to me, right? People would say, "Oh my God, you're from America, you're from New York. Whoa, it's amazing. You're great. You're amazing in this." And in my mind, I was like, "Get the hell away from me! Like, why are you even in my face?" And it took me a while to adjust. You know, there's a saying. It's called "killing you with kindness." Killing you with kindness is a real thing, right? It's like if someone says, "Hey, I want to punch you in the face," and you go, "Bro, I really love you." What does that person do? They burn up inside, right? Because when you don't get that fuel for your fire, right? The way you release the fire is by actually doing something and the fire gets put out. Now you have this fuel, right? And they're not giving you what you want. So now it's a different kind of fire. You're burning inside, right? Because you want to punch this guy in the face, but you can't because the guy's being so nice. When you lost your humanity, that doesn't matter, right? But that, like I said, never lost my humanity. And I was getting killed with kindness. I didn't know how to react. I didn't know how to react to people genuinely wanting to be my friend. I didn't know how to react to people genuinely liking me, not because I could pick up a gun and protect them, but because I was just me. So I didn't know how to react. I didn't know how to respond. And it took me a little while. And I usually have this thing that goes on my I call it divine intervention or the angel, whatever, kind of comes on my shoulder when things are getting really crazy.
Okay.
You know, like it came in my life 2 times. One was when I almost killed my stepfather and my mom. The second time was there. And it came to me and it says, hey, why are you angry? You're not in America. You're not with your abusive stepfather. You're not being told these crazy things. People here, they generally like you because you're you, right? Not because of what you can do for them, but because they just like you. So why are you angry? And then I thought about it. Why am I angry?
Yeah.
Right? People are being nice to me. And so then I started to open up a little bit more. And that was the first mindset change that I had through this sport, right? So I started to open up and be nicer to people and accept that not everyone in the world was out to get me.
Right.
Not everyone's trying to get you, right? There are people who are generally nice. There are people who are generally caring because just you're you and you're cool and that's it.
Yeah.
And that was the first step in the mindset change.
Well, clearly the mindset changed because you had guys in Croatia throwing up Nazi signs after you shake their hands. Like,
I forgot about that one.
how does that guy with the short fuse years before go to not reacting?
I tell you, I started to come up with the idea that you don't need to understand every single thing. Some things are just better left alone. You don't need to ask. Sometimes you don't need to ask why. I think sometimes we as humans, we want to ask why about everything. Some things you don't need to ask why. You keep it moving. just understand the cultures are different. So as I traveled around the world, playing for the U.S. team to all these different countries, I started to experience different cultures. I mean, I've had worse stuff than that happen. I've been in China where a guy told me, "Oh, have you met a Chinese girl yet?" And I said, "No, I never met a Chinese girl." The guy goes and brings a girl to me, right? And the girl sees me, she goes, "Oh, sorry, no black, right?" So that's like, whoa, you know. So traveling through all these countries and experiencing these things, I started to understand the culture is different, right? It doesn't matter. Get mad and do what?
Right.
What are you gonna do? You're in someone's country. Like, so for me now, it's like, you know, of course I won't tolerate disrespect like right in my face, right? Because then you still get knocked out, right? but you know, from a distance, I don't care. Like with the people who did the Heil Hitler sign, listen, I've never experienced Heil Hitler. You've seen it on TV, but I've never experienced it. When they did it, I thought they were saying hello. So I waved my hand back and hello. And then my friend was like, "No, don't do that. They're Nazis." And I didn't know, you know, I just waved back to them. Those kind of things, like, they don't bother me anymore. It just rolls off. Like, I don't even care. It's a different culture. Sometimes if I have to check it, if it's like in my face, I will check. Believe it or not, a lot of stuff is actually coming from a good place, but people just don't know how to say the right thing. And I understood that. And the only way I could understand that is by traveling to so many different countries and understanding that not everyone knows what we think they know. So we have to just chill, relax, and sometimes maybe educate.
Yeah. What was it like training with the South Korean national team?
That was fun. That was really fun because it was my first time going to South Korea.
Okay.
So the way that happened was really crazy. I used to go play the pro tour all over the world, and I would lose like the first day, right? And I'm there for 5 days. What the hell am I gonna do for 5 days? I got nothing to do. First day I would lose. Tournament over, travel, 16 hours, lose the first day, and that's it, done. I can't get a flight back. So what I would do is I would go to the practice hall and try to practice with everybody. I just want to play with everyone. Hey, you want to hit? Oh, you want to hit? Oh, you want to hit? You want to hit? And I'd spend all day in the practice hall practicing, right? And people would see this. And so one of the Korean coaches came to me and goes, "Hey, I like you. I like your energy. You practice hard." He goes, "I want to invite you to Korea to come practice." And I totally ignored him because I was like, why is this dude asking me? I suck. I'm like the worst of the pros here. There's no way he's asking me to come to Korea to train with the team who's a national team. Like, it's crazy. So I ignored it for a long time. And then my German friend, who I'm very close with, he would say, "Hey, you should go. They want you to go." They spoke to me, and I said, "Nah." I said, "Look at you." I said, "You're number 50 in the world." I just think it's top 40. You're number 40 in the world. You could go practice with them, not me. Like, that's not my luck. You know, I can't play. He goes, "No, you should go. You should go." So I decided to play Korea Open. And then I said, "You know what? Let me reach out." So I reached out, and I said, I called him on the phone. "Hey, this is Wally Green from New York." "Oh, how are you? I said, "Hey, I want to come to New York." Okay, no problem. You come, bye-bye." What? And he just hangs up the phone. And I was like, all right, this is crazy. So I called back again. And he goes, "No, don't worry. You come. You send information. No problem. Pick you up. Bye." And I said, "What? This is madness." I said, "How can I go to a place the guy's not even answering?" So I didn't know what to do. And I said, "Okay, I'm going to take a chance." So I sent all my flight information, and I faxed it to them, sent everything to them, right? And bought the ticket, and I just went. And lo and behold, the team was there. The team bus was there. They picked me up from the airport. They took me to the training center. And it was weird because when I first walked in the training center, they went to show me my room. And he said, "Sleeping here." And I looked. And no joke, it looked like this, a space. And I looked, and I was like,
What a spread.
"Yeah, what's going on?" He goes, I said, "Where's the bed?" He said, "Oh, no bed, Korean style." So the traditional Korean style is on like a tatami mat.
Okay.
So I lived like a Korean. I slept on the floor with a heated floor, used chopsticks that I couldn't use, and it was great, you know. But it was really hard practice because the culture is built on the military system.
Okay.
So everything is very militant-like. So
Okay.
training was extremely brutal. Like,
What did a day look like?
oh my God, it was like 3 times a day, and there were the workout days were the hardest because the way they do the workouts, you're doing circuit training,
Okay.
but the circuit training is with speed, so everything is fast.
Okay.
If you're doing this, is 1, 2, 3, 4, it's quick, and the coach sits there and watches every single person. So you can't just go like this when he's not looking, and then no, he's watching every single person. So that was really hard. The training in Korea is very intense, mentally and physically. So in Korea, you have to be very verbal when you're training. So we're talking about grunting, making sounds like ha 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 ha. Like if you're quiet, you'll be in trouble. Like later. Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. Because the coach at the time, he feel like if you're quiet, then you're not really working hard. He wants to hear the grunt. He wants to hear the sounds. And so if you ever go to Korean national team, you hear training, it's very loud. The whole a lot of noise. So
Wow.
yeah, it was really tough. It was definitely one of the hardest places where I trained in the world.
Okay. Where are some of the other incredible places that this sport has brought you?
Oh, God.
Maybe your favorite, top 3?
Favorite was Japan.
Really?
Until I was there for the earthquake, and then I was like, I don't like this place anymore. But Japan was definitely my favorite. China is always a great one because China, ping pong is the #1 sport there. So when you play in China, it's crazy. It's like being at the Oscars. It's huge.
It's probably the NFL over there, right?
It's so huge. It's unbelievable. If I start signing autographs, seriously, it'll be a 3-hour thing.
Wow.
It'll be 3 hours. I've
Yeah.
done it many times where I sign and 3 hours later I'm still signing autographs. So it's really intense over there.
Yeah.
And then North Korea is definitely the strangest of the countries.
Okay.
But it was very interesting because I went there to do the diplomacy for world peace. So very strange. I wouldn't tell people to go there, but definitely one of the most interesting.
Yeah, you went there 2 years after Dennis Rodman, right? Yeah. It was for ping pong diplomacy, Pyongyang.
Pyongyang, yeah.
Right? And where there's that famous clip of you and your competitor smiling.
Yeah.
Like, I'm curious. Dennis Rodman was known arguably as the best rebounder in the world ever to play the game of basketball. You, during our conversation playing ping pong, were like, I've got arguably the best story, maybe other than Dennis Rodman, to share as an athlete.
Yeah.
What do you want to be known as?
Oh man, I want to be known as I want to be known as someone who inspired and motivated the world. Like that's my thing. Like it's all, there's so much craziness in this world, and now with the emergence of mental health, which is so important. I just want to inspire people, man. I want to motivate people. I want people to see no matter how horrible your life is right now, it can be changed, right? But you have to mentally make that happen, right? You have to find a peace in whatever is keeping you down and move on from it. So that's my thing. That's my legacy. I talk about legacy a lot, and I say one thing my kids need to know who I am. And that should be everyone's legacy. Yeah. Like your kids need to know your name. When they hear your name, say, oh yeah, that's my great-great-great-great-grandfather was amazing. And that's legacy. And that's my thing, to have that legacy of someone who changed the world. Yeah. Or if I can't change the world, at least someone who continued and tried, every single moment to change the world, and that's what has become important to me now, especially during the pandemic. How many people we lost during the pandemic? It's an insane number worldwide, right? So yeah, that's my thing, man. Inspire, motivate people to do better, to get to that next level.
Yeah, your energy is infectious, Wally. Like I knew it from the minute we got here. I'm like, I got to chat with you. We got to get you on the show. When you look back, was there one moment over the course of your travels that you can think back that was that's what instilled that desire for that legacy? I hear you talk and it's there's that passion there. Yeah. Any particular moment that you're like, okay, screw anything else. I want to make sure that my kids know Wally Green, and that name weighs.
So I'll tell you, that didn't come until recent.
Okay.
That's like a post-pandemic thing,
Yeah.
right? Because, during the pandemic, we weren't doing anything. We were at home. We couldn't go nowhere. We couldn't do anything. And I had to figure out, what do I want to do? Like, I got to do something, because if I don't do anything, I'll just drive myself crazy.
Right.
And then, I just started thinking, I need to tell my story more. I need to inspire people, because this is a time where everyone's motivation, everyone's inspiration is just down.
Yeah.
And then, the thing that makes me say, yeah, this is it, are the letters that I get, the emails that I get, the DMs that I get. Just a couple of days ago, I was in Clubhouse, right? And actually, if you don't mind, I'm gonna read something to you. Like this is crazy. So I'm gonna read something to you from Clubhouse. I did an interview on Clubhouse for the Hollywood Room. It's it is the biggest entertainment room in Clubhouse. And it was a 2.5-hour interview about my life story. Very, very deep, very, very detailed. Next to the New York Times article, this was the most detailed interview. And I'm gonna read you something. The next day, I open up my phone to Clubhouse and I get a DM, and it says, "I'm in the room listening to you. I was going to just pass it over, but a friend pinged me in. I was in my car about to drive to get something to end my life today. I'm glad I found my way here. My life has hit bottom and just had the final blow yesterday. It gave me pause. And I'm not going to say I'm not going to go through with it, but it won't be today because of just listening to your story. So thanks for the next 24 hours to think things through." And this, when I read this, this is so powerful. And the reason why it's powerful is because she didn't say, because I listened to you, I'm not gonna do this, right? She said, because I listened to you, I'm gonna give myself 24 more hours to think. This is a person who really wants to take their lives, there's a lot of people that want to take their lives. Somebody comes up and say, I'm not gonna do it. They didn't really want to take their life. This person really wanted to take their life. And if I can give someone 30 minutes, 10 minutes, 1 hour, whatever it is, to think things over, to find another way, to think another way, then everything that I'm doing is well worth it, right? So this makes everything, when I see something like this, it inspires me. It keeps me going. It keeps me, wanting to tell my story. And it tells me, it makes me tell other people, tell your story. If you don't tell your story, you're being selfish. You're being selfish to the people who might need to hear it, who it can possibly change, or in this case, save their lives. So that's something that's like so important to me right now.
Wow. Yeah, I'm getting chills. I think you've certainly impacted that person, but from your content that you've on social media, after doing some research, you've impacted many more, probably hundreds of thousands. One of the things that I wanted to bring up was the fact that you came to the support of, the Asian race when it was being attacked because of COVID.
You saw that.
And
that's crazy.
the LGBTQ community, when you were supporting them,
Man. Okay.
that's
Yes.
not something that athletes are typically always
Yeah.
at the forefront, using their platforms for. And I think that was something that I wanted just to commend you on.
Thank you, appreciate that.
But anything that, internally, is that where it came from? Was it just that you felt the need, that you knew this was your opportunity to make an impact?
Yeah, with the Asian hate video that I made, I saw a video one day, and I just got really pissed off, and I was like, this is crazy. And when I get angry, I act, and I made a video about it because I had a platform. I think I was just getting on TikTok, and I had a platform that I knew that I could say what I wanted and how I felt, and I had to say it. I had to just say the way I felt, and I said it. And yeah, it was just the way I felt. So if I feel something, I'm gonna say it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. And like I said, I support all people. And with the LGBTQ, the same thing. You know how much, let me tell you, those two videos really brought out it reminded me that this world needs so much work. Seriously, those two particular videos, the Asian hate one, if you see all the hate that I got from this, and it was coming from all sides, from everyone. And the thing is like I answer every comment, like no comment. If you go look at it, it's a viral video, every comment's answered. Because if I put out a video, I'm responsible for what goes on in it. That's why I answer every single comment. And I had to shut a lot of people down, like really say, hey, listen, don't be ignorant. Let me teach you something, right? Because, on the Asian side, they would say, oh, we supported Black Lives Matter and this is what you do. This is what you do to us. And immediately I would say, hey, let me check you. I'm Black and I made this video. So whatever you're saying right now doesn't make sense, right? Because I'm supporting you, right? So just because some other Black people did something doesn't put every Black person in the same category. So I had to handle that stress. And then I had, the Black people saying, oh, you're not Asian. Why are you supporting Asians for? And I had to check them and say, hey, listen, I support everyone. I support humans. Doesn't matter. Black, white, purple, orange, green, yellow, I don't care. I support humans, right? And then there was just ignorance saying like, the virus started in China, so Asians are the virus. And I said, bro, and the way I'm talking to you is the way I type. Exactly how I'm talking to you is exactly the way I type. And I'm like, bro, are you dumb? I said, first of all, let me school you just a little bit. Asia is a continent. It's not a country. So what you said makes zero sense. So I just went back and forth. But the greatest thing about it was that people were still respectful because they could feel my tone and they could feel my energy. No one ever tried to get back at me. People, oh, my bad, sorry, oh, but this is what I thought, like this. And I always say, especially in this case, there's a lot of ignorance and you need to check the ignorance. That's how you stop racism. You got to check, so that's what I did, LGBTQ video I made, same thing. That video was a collaboration I did with a company that I really stand for. And you might see sometimes I wear the hat that says Triple Nickel. Triple Nickel is a great company that supports diversity, it supports fairness, equalness, and there are former Navy SEALs that put this company together. And one of them has a kid who's in that community, and they asked me, says, hey, I know this is maybe not what you do, but would you be interested in making a PSA? And I said, hell yeah, let's do it. I support everyone. And as you can see in the video, the story I told is a true story. It's about a friend that I knew. I knew this dude for a long time. And I didn't know he was gay. He never told me he was gay. And the reason why he never told me is because he was scared that I was gonna just not talk to him no more. And this is someone I knew for a long time. And let me tell you, he played it off good because I never knew. Then he went and moved to China. And I found out in China, when I went to China, and he told me, and I said, yo, bro, why you didn't tell me? He said, because I thought maybe you'd never talk. I said, you crazy? I said, come on, man. I said, yo, you still my bro. It don't matter, bro. I said, it's all good, man. We still gonna go out and party. What's wrong with you, right? So anything that I feel that I want to support, I'm gonna do it, and I support it on my platform. I don't care what people think. Let me tell you, I got so much. Listen, I remember some of the comments like this. Oh, I just lost all respect for you. I'm gonna unfollow you. Then guess what? You should have unfollowed me a long time ago because you don't know me. Because if you did, you wouldn't follow me to begin with, right? So, I got really a lot of negative, especially the LGBTQ, a lot of negative comments, so many. And each one of them were answered by me in a tone that I was saying, no, this is not acceptable. You can unfollow. It's easy. Just click the unfollow button, right? I said, if you can't support everyone, you can't include everyone, then you don't need to follow me, right? So yeah, so I'm very open about things that if I feel it, then I'm gonna say it.
Well, kudos to you, man, because it takes a lot of guts and time, effort, to reply to every single one of those comments when it's got 2 million plus.
Definitely
views,
one of
right?
the stressful weeks of very stressful.
Yeah.
Because, everyone needs to take care of their mental health. And every time you answer a negative comment, that affects you. You think it doesn't, but it does.
For sure.
And if you're answering hundreds of negative comments, there was a time I was just stressed, and I was just have to take a step back, reset your mind, and go back to the comments, right? Because I post a video, I'm responsible for what goes on in it.
Yeah. Well, you definitely aren't stressed when you're playing ping pong.
No.
Because your smile is infectious.
Yes.
Because we have a platform here on the Athletes Podcast, I gotta share the fact that you're using iPhone 6s, kicking people's butts with them.
Yes.
Apple's got to get on sponsoring you in some capacity, some shape or form here. Do you want to just share the story that inspired that? Because it's pretty cool.
Yeah, the iPhone 6 story. It's crazy. So I used to do exhibitions for the Tennis Channel Open in Las Vegas. And one year, the person I was going to play with didn't show up. So I didn't know what to do. I was like, oh my God, I got all these kids, all these people coming to watch the tennis show, coming to watch my exhibition, and I don't know what to do. And I had a Samsung flip phone, and I was like, can I play with this? And lo and behold, really the first day that I took it out, I could play with it, and I could hit, and I was like, oh my God, I can play with the phone. And I noticed that everybody was like, it was like the thing. It was like the thing of being at the Tennis Channel Open. It was the dude playing with his cell phone, right? And I was like, oh man, it's pretty cool. So through the years, I started playing with my cell phone. You know, like I've been on a couple of TV shows. I did on Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey had it on a TV show to interview me, and I took out the cell phone and played him with the cell phone, and it became a thing. And now it's my thing. And people think I play with the cell phone to show off, and that's not why, right? The origin of why I did it was, you know, because I didn't know what to do for the exhibition. But throughout the years, it's been to show people that ping pong's a real sport, right? That's my other passion. People need to know that it's a real sport. We have to train. We have to go in the gym. You have to eat right. You have to run. Every single thing that every other athlete does in the hardest sports, we have to do it, right? And when I play with a phone, it lets people know that, you know what? This sport is not easy. Like people think it's easy. Everyone thinks that, everyone says, oh, it's so easy, it's so easy. But if I beat you with a cell phone, then guess what? It's not that easy. Imagine what I would do with a paddle, right? So that's why I play with the cell phone. It just keeps an idea that let people know that, man, this sport is a difficult sport.
Yeah, if anyone's curious what you can do with a paddle, we'll probably overlay some video of you kicking my ass with both the phone, paddle, whatever. You could probably use your head and you would have beat me. But that's why I wanted to showcase your story on the Athletes Podcast, because you are an incredible athlete. What you're doing is amazing. I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. The way we wrap up every episode is we ask our guests what their biggest piece of advice would be for the next generation of athletes.
The biggest piece of advice that I want to give to the younger generation, and it's not just athletes, I'm going to go with the entire younger generation. It's two things. The first thing is, if you need help, no matter what it is, no matter what it is you're doing, if you need help, don't be afraid to ask, right? Someone can only, the worst that can happen is someone says no, then you move on and you ask again. And more importantly, I think is the biggest of things that I can say is if someone offers you help, do not be afraid to take it, because so many times in our lives, we think we can do everything by ourselves. Oh no, I don't want that. Oh no, I'm gonna do it myself. Oh no, no, you can't do it yourself. No one does it themselves, right? If I didn't take, if I, you know, a lot of times people say, oh man, you were so lucky. You were so lucky. Someone sent you to, and I said, listen, there's nothing lucky about that. I didn't have to take that help. None of anybody in my situation would have said, well, you crazy? I'm not going to church. Get out of here with that nonsense, right? So don't be afraid to accept the help that's given to you, right? Because you never know where that help might take you, right? You never know where your life might go. If it wasn't for me, if I didn't accept that help, I wouldn't be here talking to you. I'd be dead or in jail. So accept the help that's given to you. I cannot say it enough. It's so important.
Yeah. No other way to put it.
Yeah.
I really appreciate your time, Wally. I can't thank you enough.
Definitely.
It's been a pleasure. I can't wait to continue following along your journey. It's incredible.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We'll be watching from the sidelines. I'll work on my ping pong skills, and hopefully I can be in like 5 or 10 years.
Definitely.
Well, actually,
Yes.
before I let you go, pickleball.
Oh God.
Let's get like the one-liner. Like, I know you don't love the sport. It's a little slow for you, but like to those pickleballers maybe that are part of the Dink family and like want to be involved,
All right.
getting involved in this new sport that's up and coming, like maybe one pro, one con you could see, and then maybe like what you would suggest for people
Okay.
if they want to get better,
Yeah.
you know?
So for the pickleball thing, the one pro I do see, it's a sport that everyone can play. So no matter what your level is, no matter what your physicality is, you can still play. And that's one of the reasons why it's grown
Yeah.
so much, is because it's a sport that everyone can play. The downside to that is that it's, let me see, how can I say this nicely? I gotta find a nice way to say it. Is that people who play this sport think it's the greatest sport in the world. The sport just started. I just want to say, calm down. Yeah. It just started. It can't be the greatest sport in the world yet. Take it easy, slow down. There's a lot of sports that are the greatest sports, right?
Whiff-waff being one of them.
Whiff-waff, yeah. But and you know, but at the end of the day, you got to do what you love, right? So if you love pickleball, play pickleball. Do it because you love it, right? Don't do it because everyone else is doing it. Do it because you love it. So that's pretty much it.
That's a great way to end it. I appreciate it, man.